it looks like Netflix is getting into the bidding war for Warner Brothers. Now, you guys remember we talked about this last week. News dropped like a bomb that Paramount, now under the control of Ellison and his Skydance company, has put together a bid to actually buy Warner Brothers and buy them outright. Not just half of it, because Warner Brothers has announced they're going to be splitting into two separate companies, one for broadcast television, one for the movie studio and HBO Max. Well, they want to buy the whole damn thing. Well, now, according to the trade newsletter, Puck, probably the most popular one in the business, they're now saying that they have sources telling them that Netflix is, in fact, preparing a counter bid to also buy Warner Brothers. Now, details on whatever this bid would be were not really provided by Puck. It doesn't really clarify whether it be like Paramount, they're going to try to buy the whole damn thing, or if they're going to just offer to buy, let the company split in half and then just buy the Warner Brothers Studios and HBO Max sort of thing. Didn't really specify. But here's the interesting thing. Once that news came out via Puck, other reports started to surface that Comcast, NBC Universal, may want to be getting into this too. You guys might remember that when Disney bought Fox, they were competing against NBC Universal. As a matter of fact, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but Disney was going to buy Fox, and I think the price tag was something around $45 billion. And oh, yeah, great, they're going to buy it. And then Universal came and said, wait a minute, we're going to make a bid. Yeah. And by the end of the day, Disney had to spend almost $30 billion more than what they were planning on spending because they had to outbid Comcast, NBC Universal, which might have been NBC Universal's plan all along to make Disney spend an extra $30 billion. Anyway, so now it sounds like they might be getting into it as well. And Rob, we might be seeing now David Zaslav getting maybe what it exactly was he wanted, which was a bidding war for Warner Brothers and to make his shareholders a buttload of money. Whether that's the case or not, I mean, who knows? But it does bring up something that we touched on when we talked about the Paramount potential takeover of Warner Brothers, which is, all other things being equal, Rob, I don't think you or I want to see anybody buy Warner Brothers. I think, especially with this unprecedented win streak they're on right now, with just smashing the record of having 6 films open in a row to over $40 million. Never happened before. They extended that record to 7 films in a row, and now they might extend the record even more to 8 films in a row once one battle after another comes out. But, so I think in general, we don't want to see Warner Brothers get sold off. But, Rob, if it does get sold off, going to Paramount ain't the worst thing. I mean, it's clearly a company that's very passionate about films. They want to keep the theatrical experience. They want to extend the theatrical window. They have a lot of really good ideas. And Rob, you and I have both been very impressed by some of the early moves they've been making since Skydance took over Paramount. Some really great moves.
Very much so. John,
I like the idea. I got to say this though, Rob. I mentioned this to you before. I really don't want to see Netflix get Warner Brothers. I really don't. Because Netflix is going to bastardize it. Netflix is going to turn it into an all streaming platform. But, maybe I could be optimistic. Maybe Netflix buys into Warner Brothers and goes, okay, Warner Brothers will be our theatrical arm. And maybe that's a way for Netflix to get more into the theatrical. That's the optimistic side of me. The pessimistic side, Rob, is the fear that Netflix is going to get Warner Brothers and then it's all just going to be streaming and crapify everything. So I'm really I would rather NBC Universal get it. I would rather, Rob, see Disney get Warner Brothers than see Netflix, unless Steve Sarandos came out and said, okay, we're going to put in a bid for Warner Brothers. Ted Sarandos, sorry. We're putting in a bid for Warner Brothers. Our plan is to get it and make that our theatrical arm. If they say that, which I doubt, But if they did, I'd be a little bit more open to the idea of Netflix getting them. Anyway, Rob, you heard about this. It sounds now like Netflix is going to get into the bids. Then maybe Comcast Universal is going to get into the bids. There might be other players. I don't know who can afford it. But anyway, what's your takeaway from all this?
Well, I mean, I expected both Netflix and Comcast to jump in on into this because in a way, they're kind of obligated. But here's my fear, like you just stated. I don't think they're interested. They look at theatrical as a 20th century phenomenon, and it doesn't, in their minds, doesn't really benefit them because they would have to. A theatrical releasing of motion pictures is a whole different end of the business that they've never been enthusiastic for. But I think if Netflix were to buy Warner Brothers, it could kill theatrical completely. Because if Warner Brothers pulled out of releasing movies theatrically, how do the other studios, I mean, what do you have left? Paramount and Amazon have committed to theatrical, but maybe, Disney still makes a ton of money, but and then you've got Lionsgate and A24 and a lot of other small, but can 3 major studios and maybe 20th Century Fox or 20th Century Studios will throw in, but how do you support a theatrical industry that needs movies 24/7, 365 days a year? How do you do that? And if you lose a major, Warner Brothers would be a huge blow to theatrical. And I don't want to see that happen. And the thing about Netflix is, John, it's like even when they were making movies for the drive-in in, say, the 60s and 70s, there is a philosophy behind filmmaking that happens when your movie is going to be projected on a giant screen.
Yeah, 100%.
When you know that you're going to be theatrical or you're going to be in the drive-in, the way movies are shot, the way movies are lit, everything about the philosophy behind making films changes. Part of the reason that a lot of Netflix movies are the way they are is because it's known, especially in post-production, that these are just going to stream. So even the way movies are lit it's done differently. And philosophically, if we're just going to get a bunch of, I understand they want the whole Warner library, but I don't want to see DC Universe movies made for streaming only. I want the philosophy, HBO's TV series look different than anyone else's because of their philosophy of how they're made, how they're lit, how many nits that they're going to be when you have. That's why sometimes when you watch like The Long Night, people are like, I can't see it, it's too dark. Well, things are changing, and I don't think Netflix would be good for the business if they bought Warner Brothers at all.
Can you imagine if Sinners had gone straight to streaming?
No.
Can you imagine how terrible? Can you imagine if Weapons had gone straight to streaming? And, I'm glad you brought up like Amazon and stuff like that, because Amazon, you and I were both really impressed with Amazon's presentation at CinemaCon. They have a rich, robust theatrical lineup coming out. They are clearly committed to theatrical. Apple is becoming more and more committed to theatrical. I would even be okay with Amazon or Apple getting it. It's literally the only player in this game. And I'm a Netflix fan. Don't get me wrong. I am. I love watching shows on Netflix. I do. But they are absolutely dead last as far as who I would want to see eventually pick up Warner Brothers, if anybody picks them up. So,
guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. Look, you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right actually means you win. And with football back, there is no better time to get in on the action. You guys know I've been using PrizePicks for a while now, and it's honestly the most fun I've had engaging with the new football season already. For example, this weekend, I had Josh Allen throwing for more than 270 passing yards and Baker Mayfield having more than 2.5 passing touchdowns, and boom, I won on both. Building your lineups on PrizePicks is fast, simple, and honestly extremely fun. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections. And if you're right, you win. What's even better is that PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still win even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Plus, they've even got this thing called injury reboots, so if a player goes down in the first half, it won't count against you. And PrizePicks operates in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So download the app today and use code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? There are reports out there right now coming from fairly reliable sources that Netflix and probably Comcast are also going to be getting in and making bids for Warner Brothers to compete against Paramount for it. Who do you want to see come out of it? Do you think they ultimately will get sold? Whatever you guys make of this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.